SR93 Boxing, I'm back with a quick video. I've noticed amongst some of our UK fans, or fans of boxing, especially from the UK, that some of them believe that Kell Brook hasn't ducked anyone in his career. Yes, I had people telling me that on my channel, and there are some other channel, and I don't know if I should mention the name because I don't want to make people think that I'm beefing with them or anything. This is just YouTube. This is just me giving my opinion and nothing else, to be honest. But I don't think I should mention this channel's name, but yeah, that channel, I feel like, is not biased. He doesn't try and be biased and things like that. I think he gives his honest opinion, so I don't have anything against him. And even if he lied about boxing, I don't care, to be honest. He can do whatever he wants. But either way, some people still to this day believe that Kell Brook has not ducked anyone. They say that Kell Brook was trying to make the Amir Khan fight. He was trying to make big fights. He was not only trying to fight Bum during the Jojo Dan fight, Kevin Bizier fight, Frankie Gavin fight. They say that Kell Brook was trying to make the Devon Alexander fight, so he did not duck Devon Alexander. Which, I mean, I guess you have a ground for saying that because Devon Alexander pulled out once, and injuries can happen, so I'm okay with that. And then, he apparently fought Gennady Golovkin, which he did, but that's not really a reason why. That's not a reason for me to believe that, oh, he fought Gennady Golovkin, therefore he would not duck anyone at 147. That Gennady Golovkin fight was for money, for payday. 100%, I believe that. This guy, it took him 10 years to get a world title, and through which he has not fought anyone decent. Stenchenko is alright, but still. He fights Jojo Dan, which I gave him a pass for because he came off an injury. But then he fought Frankie Gavin. I can't remember when he was supposed to fight Diego Chavez. After Jojo Dan or after Frankie Gavin. But either way, the Diego Chavez, he had an injury, and apparently that's an excuse for him to pull out of the fight. Diego Chavez versus someone else was supposed to happen, and then Devon Alexander versus someone else was supposed to happen, and the winner is supposed to fight each other, like Chavez and Alexander. I mean, Diego Chavez versus whoever, versus Alexander versus whoever. Winner out of those two was supposed to fight each other, and that will be like an IBF eliminator. But see, Alexander seems like, from what I understand, seems like he got paid step-aside money. But even if you take that situation away, it doesn't even matter. Diego Chavez, the fight was supposed to happen. I mean, fighters can get injuries and they come back, right? Why is it all of a sudden that Kell Brook had an injury and he couldn't fight Diego Chavez? I don't understand. I really don't understand that. This guy has no problem. Just think about this, okay? This guy has no problem fighting bums. Has no problem fighting anyone else. He could have fought a good fighter back then, couldn't he? Kell Brook is the worst at boxing. He's worse than Triple G. Let me tell you why. At least Triple G goes out to get all the belts, and he has, fighters can say what they want. People can say what they want. They try to do this and that. It doesn't matter. Your action speaks louder than your words. And Triple G, at least he's trying to get the belts. He's Canelo vacated, right? Now, obviously, there are reasons why he's vacated that belt, but at least Triple G's trying to get those belts. Triple G's pretty much willing to fight many people except a few, right? Kell Brook's willing to duck many people except a few. That's the difference. Kell Brook's not trying to get all the belts unless there's a lot of reward for it. Why is he not willing to take the chance? Why is he not willing to fight fighters where there's a high risk but maybe not as much reward? I mean, it seems, why would you want to fight that? That's a good point. If people say, why would Kell Brook want to fight that? The thing is, all these other fighters have done it. Amir Khan's done it. Keith Thurman's taken those fights. Danny Goss is taking those fights. And sometimes you don't look so good. Sometimes you look good. It's part of boxing, right? And see, sometimes they take fights where there's maybe a higher risk but not so much reward, and they don't look too good. You expect them to win more convincingly, but they don't. Like a Luis Collazo fight. Like Khan versus Algeria. Like Danny Goss versus Herrera. These sort of fights happen. And sometimes, the negative reputation that the fighter gets in terms of their ability in the ring is there, is present. So, they kind of, the ability in the ring, the reputation, the ability in the ring is not as good as to the eyes of the public, as at least after those fights. After those fights where the public thought, yeah, these guys, Garcia will beat this guy easily, Thurman will beat this guy easily, Khan will beat this guy easily, and they don't beat them as easily, or they may not even beat them. Then, they get shitted on, and their reputation goes lower. And see, Kell Brook hasn't gone that route. He hasn't taken those fights. He talks shit about fighters that has taken those fights. Those are high risk fights. If he has to fight those fighters. He has to. Why does he get a pass for not fighting them? Those are high risk fighters. He has to take those fights. He has to take those risks. After all, everyone's done it. And Khan fought Lamont Peterson in his own hometown. And then Kell Brook's just sitting there talking shit. The only place he fights is UK. He don't want to fight. I mean, Sean Porter, yeah, that's an exception. There's a few exceptions out there. Kell Brook is really the worst of boxing, man. This guy there's no excuse for you having up this bad resume. Okay, I understand you fought Joe Jordan. I gave you a pass for it. You came off a stabbing injury, but then what? Then you went on to fight Frankie Gavin. What for? What for do you have to fight Frankie Gavin? You could have fought someone decent. You could have fought anyone then. Anyone. He could have fought any decent fighter. This guy has a problem making the Jesse Vargas fight. You know why? This guy, look, before going to the Jesse Vargas situation, this guy seems to be someone who's looking to make big money, and that's really it. Yeah, he likes boxing and things like that, but he's not willing to take risks like a Danny Garcia is willing to take risks, like a Amir Khan's willing to take risks, like a Keith Thurman that's willing to take risks, like a Sean Porter that's willing to take risks. This guy's not willing to take risks. And for anyone who wants to say, oh, Golovkin, that's a fight where he can lose anything he wants. He can lose the fight and still say, oh, it was Golovkin, that it's only Golovkin. The only reason I lost is because of Golovkin. Stuff like that, people respect him. Any other fights where there's a lot of risk, there has to be a lot of reward. Why? Other fighters are fighting fights where there's not much reward. You gotta do the same. Let's see how your reputation stacks up after you may not do well. Because Kell Brook's, more people know about Kell Brook than before. And when he struggled against Carson Jones, a lot of people didn't see it. But people will see it if Kell Brook struggles against some decent opposition who people don't expect him to struggle against, like a Jesse Vargas, if he does struggle. I'm not saying he would. But if he does struggle, so he has to go through those fighters. I don't care what people say. Why could he not make a fight with Jesse Vargas? He was going to get paid a lot less than Jesse Vargas. And he feels like, as a champion, he's to get paid more. See, Jesse Vargas was asking for, I think, $2 million to get paid. Which is decent, considering, Kell Brook likes to use this title as a leverage to get money. And that's understandable. But he's really a borderline fake champion. Look how many defenses, what type of defenses he's gone through. Okay? And he fights. So when he goes up to these Jesse Vargas and everything, people, yeah, they know he's a champion, but deep down they kind of know that, yeah, whatever, look at all the defenses that he had. It was bullshit defenses, okay? And therefore he's not able to generate. He hasn't been in the spotlight for long enough. So even though he's a world champion, the defenses that he's gone for are against minimal opposition that doesn't catch the attention of the public. Therefore, they don't bother watching it. A lot of people in America don't pay a lot of attention to Kell Brook unless they're boxing fans. If he fought Jesse Vargas, he would have got a lot. Fuck, it's really cold today. I think I have a cold as well. Or maybe it's just I'm talking about Kell Brook, man. Talking about Kell Brook's not good for my health. I don't know, man. Just what Kell Brook's done to boxing is like a spreading disease, and now other fighters are following it. Triple G's trying to follow it. But yeah, Kell Brook, he could have fought Jesse Vargas, and his excuse was, I'm a world champion, I need to get paid some money. Well, you're a borderline fake world champion, and if you were a world champion who defeated decent oppositions after fighting Sean Porter, Joe Jordan, I give him a pass for that. Frankie Gavin, he could have fought someone else. Frankie Gavin was not mandatory. Joe Jordan was a mandatory. Kevin Bizier was a mandatory, and Frankie Gavin was not mandatory. So no one can come up with that bullshit excuse. He would have got paid $500,000, which he's saying is not enough. But considering what you got paid before, and considering that your resume sucks balls, you don't deserve more than $500,000. That's kind of what you deserve. But Kell Brook couldn't use his that little IBF strap as a leverage because Jesse Vargas also had a title. He can't make a fight with Diego Chavez. Look, this is bullshit. How the fuck you've been here since 2004 in the pro game, and this is how bad your resume is? This guy has no problem fighting bums when they're mandatories, but all of a sudden, soon as mandatory comes up, that's not a bum. This guy has all of a whole bunch of problems. And UK fans, sometimes I feel like some of us are a bit deluded. SR93 boxing is not deluded. I see right through Kell Brook. And realizing the type of opposition he fought some horrendous opposition, some horrendous ones. It's shameful. Errol Spence's trainer was right. If Kell Brook try to make those fights in America, these fights wouldn't even be sanctioned. And that's the truth. So, how do you... And it's crazy that people think Amir Khan's ducking. If Amir Khan's the ducker, some people say Amir Khan's the biggest ducker in boxing. These are like Kell Brook fans that are saying it. Well, if Amir Khan's the biggest ducker in boxing, how come he has a better resume than Kell Brook? I'm SR93 boxing, I'm out.